Alright, so I put together this deck here to basically deal with the Northern Realms and the Nilfgaard matchup. I was really tired of the tempo that they had with the thinning packages and things like that with Nilfgaard, and then of course having that long round for Northern Realms. So I just wanted to develop something that would just make sense to look for like a tempo pass or just kind of overtake round one. So Lippy just made sense. I haven't been a huge Lippy player, but I believe with some new cards, it actually is viable. And you'll see what I mean here. We got 4 complete games for you guys, and honestly, this is definitely worth checking out. So first game's Pirates Cove, and I know the last video I posted was all Syndicate. I can assure you this one's not all Syndicate. We've got tons of different types of matchups here.
This world, only 2 things are certain.
And I put the Brockvar Hunters, if you're wondering, just because we have the extra beasts with the half-roos. It just kind of feels natural. It's going to reduce the cooldown by 1. It's going to help us get, you know, obviously more engine value than putting something else in the deck for 4 provision slots. So it just kind of made sense to me. And you'll see what I mean. They get to work here. And just an FYI, the 4 games that you guys see are basically back to back to back to back, like they're completely straight in a row. And I just happened to enjoy the gameplay, and I felt like they really capitalized on what we're trying to show here. So all I did was trim in between them. So nothing really going on for us yet. Both sides are just playing bronzes. Kind of want to show them we're ready to play. So it would make sense to have a coral come down here and just obviously get out the roach and maybe put one of those, yeah, skirmishers up there. Really good round 1 hand because we have a lot of stuff we can actually discard here. And I wanted to put Snowdrop in the deck because we have the Drummonds, we have Roach, we have Knickers, we have the Tursic skirmishers. There's so much stuff that can go wrong with our hand that it just makes sense to put Snowdrop. Morgvarg's another example. You see what I mean here? So we draw into stuff we don't necessarily want, so we can just put that back. And then we have the Snowdrop to recomp our hand one more time. So, look at all these points, man. It just makes it very difficult because we don't commit a whole lot here. Like, we get everything that we just played back, so it doesn't really make a really big of a difference that we just, you know, kind of won here. Now, fortunately for us, we did go second, so red coin abuse is definitely where you want to be with this, but we still have some points if we're to go on blue, just to get out of the round and whatnot. So in these situations, I feel like there's no reason why we shouldn't play it down to nothing. Regardless of what deck we play. However, with Lippy, I mean, there's even more reason to just play down to nothing. So we want to get, there you go, Omuro. Perfect, we could tuck one of those back, and at this point I think either the half-brew or the gutting slash is value the least. Potentially the half-brew because we played some earlier. Actually, no, we have the mushy truffle in hand, so it would be the gutting here. And the play with this deck, guys, is not to get the Snowdrop up to 12 points or whatever. Like, we're not doing the same thing that Nilfgaard does. People are used to seeing it, so they often target removal at Snowdrop, which is not really a big deal. It's just for the hand recomp. So, big points out. We have Megascopes in this for obvious reasons. We're not really looking to copy anything except for these Drummonds, the villagers. So, if it's anything else, I wouldn't really bother too much. I mean, a half-row if we're desperate, but generally don't have any issues getting that. We do see the full leader and expense. They're starting to kind of worry. When I see this sort of commitment early on, it tells me maybe that their hand is not very good. In some cases, right? Like, maybe their hand's not very good, they're getting kind of worried, they want to see us pass, so they want to keep tempo ahead. So you know, obviously that's what you want to do when you're defending the bleed, but the double leader charge is kind of great. So that's more the reason for me to want to keep playing. We're only establishing carryover here with our top row, so I'm putting them on the range row just so that we can split it up a little bit. It doesn't matter because we'll just play it all again later, right? And you gotta watch out for Knickers and Roach. Like, they'll come out on whatever row they feel like. So it's one of those things where if you're playing Cirrus on melee, you definitely want to have other cards just starting to be put down on range row, right? So we'll just dump that, I suppose. At this point it doesn't matter, so we can just start putting them back on melee. The only thing I'm like sort of teching against is like, you know, do we get a Tin Boy with not enough coin? But I doubt it. Tin Boy is kind of expensive and I haven't really seen much circulation of it, so if any at least, yeah, but it's always in the back of my mind. So you like to see that, them spending more than what they need to spend just to be proactive here and protect things. However, our intention is not to use the heat wave anyways if we can avoid it, right? So deck's great. We have 4 cards in there. Wildkarl and Giga Scorpion are likely going to be pulled, right? Because we're going to pull 2 cards and get 2 mulligans. So there's a consideration here to pass, and then just get those 2 mulligans, and then Lippy after the fact. So we'll see exactly what goes on here. It's hard to say again, because the heat wave could be very valuable in the short round as well. And we got the pass here. I mean, we established carryover through Mushy Truffle and through Cirrus, and that's another reason why I added Mushy Truffle to the decks, because I felt like it's really good if we bleed and then have short round 3. Because you have this opportunity for just 6 points sitting there, plus whatever carryover we made from Lippy. It's just great. So just dump this stuff here. Wildkarl's guaranteed, so we put back Gunning Slash, and you don't get a much better pull than this, guys. Like, this is kind of what you're going to be expecting if you take Disciplined enough mulligans and you get your Snowdrop and you discard as early as you can, right? It should just thin down to between, well, it's like 2 or 3 cards at most. Usually it's pretty low like that. So they opt not to take the extra Helveed. I mean, we just remove that, I think, here with the Giga Scorpion. Just get rid of it. With the Syndicate matchup, you kind of want to just make sure you don't have like a lot of spenders on the board, especially in short rounds, so they can't split the points wide. And it often helps them lose value if, you know, they have extra coin, but they don't have a way to spend it. So they could transfer poison here, so there's no real reason to put Wildkarl down until last say. There's one. Sometimes we could put Morkvarg back in deck so we get the Lippy discard on the Morkvarg, but I don't think we need to. With Coral and Berna and all that, it's just fine, I think. Again, they're sort of reaching here, not really having ideal targets to get Professor value. We only have 9 coin. What are they going to spend it on? Cirrus comes out, and that's going to play for a ton of points, guys. Just look at that, boom. So, there's very few cards in the game that can really help them come back from this sort of thing here. I mean, Igni would be annoying. That would be one of the few cards that could do it. And just to be completely certain, I was thinking about just putting Wildkarl here because I didn't think we were going to be able to finish the game. But I decided let's just play it safe because you never know what's going to happen, right? And just hit that there. You know, last say Jacques with full leader spent would have been annoying, but we still had the reach with the champion of Svalblood. 12 points there, 6 off the leaders, 18, plus 6 off the location. I just didn't want to BM, so I didn't really play it. And that's fine. We know we would have got it, guys. So big win there. Round 2, I've been seeing like a resurface of a lot of traps and stuff like that. It's been pretty damn annoying, but if you're playing a deck that's not super control heavy, like the one we're playing right here, then you should just be fine. You know, we have some damage and things like that, but we're not... It's not all, like, deploy effects that are impacting their side of the board, so it shouldn't be super awkward here. Really good round 1 turn. Cirrus comes out. Got Roach on the board, 18 points. We don't have Coral, so it's fine. We can just go ahead and click that, and then look to see what we can discard here. Tursic comes out. I held on to Morgvar just in case we try to get the Lippy discard later. 26 points on 1 turn, guys. So even if what Traps likes to do is put down Scenario first and just crank it out, win the round and go to round 3, and just drop Traps on the board before the Eldain. So this makes it a little bit tricky for them because now they got to deal with 26 points quickly. Otherwise, we just tempo ahead and we get out of the round. So again, I forgot what I did here, but I'm curious to see it. I've been filming a couple videos, so a lot of games have been played recently. There's this one, there's another one that I filmed right before this, but I'll probably put out after this. And then I'm starting to make some new decks for some other stuff. So when I see Maxi down first, it tells me that they're just like, alright, let's get out at 7. Forget about this, right? So I'm thinking that they're probably going to pass with 7 cards. So we have to take that in mind. We want to consider tempoing as hard as we can so that we could pass, like, if we have one more big turn here, then we might be able to, like, hero pass it and, you know, get them down to 4 or something like that. But I don't really want to give them the round either, so it's one of those things where it's kind of tricky. Because if we give them the round, that's what they want. They'll just play their traps in round 3, so... And I don't really know much more value for the Giga Scorpion, but at the same time, they have a lot of 2s and not full return there. There's armor on the board. There's a lot of stuff that they can hit that's not really optimal for that Pyrotech, and I don't think it's enough points really to matter at this point. We have to kind of keep all the options available because it might not be traps. It might be like a Gezra's Elf. So, you know, the Giga Scorpion could see some really good value. So they decided to pass with 8 cards, so I'm thinking that their hand's either really bad or they're just like, alright, like, let's just get this over with here. So we'll go into round 2 and see what happens. So generally Megascope just gets shipped right away as soon as we've already played the Cirrus. It doesn't matter. There's not really a reason to keep it in hand. A 6-point Megascope is very slow and just, I would dump it. Now I have pretty much everything I want, and I'm not too worried about it here, so I'm just kind of taking like a shallow Coral, or sorry, Snowdrop. Especially because we got the technically 1 on even status here, and I don't really want to put a Brockvar on the board and have it just die to something, so it was kind of like one of the most proactive plays we have without wasting maybe points in the long run. I'm telling you guys, for whatever reason, everyone sees Snowdrop, and, well, it's because they know, like, a lot of decks are playing around it, but like I was saying earlier, Snowdrop is good bait. Like, we don't have a lot of stuff that really matters if they go after, but at least, you know, taking out a Snowdrop helps engines like the Brockvar stay alive. We pick off the shield. I think it's kind of weird to see a Cleaver Muscle played from hand, but, you know, it's fine. They're probably looking for a Justice at this point. And so I'm kind of trying to remove it slowly and ping at it, but I don't really want to take a Giga Scorpion to it. We kind of still want to focus on thinning out here. There's Justice.
You've done it now.
And, you know, at this point, like, it just makes sense. We have good two good targets on the board that would actually, I wouldn't want to get hit with the Pyro, right? Coral and Brock Hunter, so let's just go ahead and remove the Pyrotech. I want to sort of apply some pressure here. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of good cards, but again, we want to apply a little bit of pressure, and we want to see some commitments from them, right? 2 half-roots in hand's huge. Let's just toss one of those for points. Gutting Slash doesn't really fit in here, so let's dump that. We want to make sure if we ever get any pings later, we don't have a 2 hitting a 1 power, so we kill that off. And look at how many points we have left in hand. It's still pretty wild. So, I like to always try and get that Mushy Truffle down first. Don't know if we take that line here, but it's just nice to have it, because if we ever consider passing for whatever reason, I guess we decided we're just going to play into it. That makes sense, sure. And I wasn't sure what bomb they were playing, but at the end of the day, half-roofs are like a really good target to hit bombs, because if they get hit by the damage by 5, they stay alive. If they get hit by damage by provision, it's only doing 4 damage to our side of the board. There's like so much value from just playing that in the trap matchup, because here we just, you know, we can go ahead and play Truffle. And we can even consider just clicking the thing, right? Get the bonded and click. Just in case they hit it off. I want to get that return on our investment ASAP, so go ahead, pop it on the range roll while we can. There's units to target. And just hit the front one, because we want to keep eating at those back ones there. So pretty significant lead. At this point, I'm thinking that's probably a crushing trap. I want to get some... There you go. Just a bit more points on the board. I can give you an excuse, but I basically just like forgot to click the Barak bar on that one there. So that would have been nice. I am contemplating a pass here, but the extra point would have been kind of cool. I just know that they're not going to do it in one. This would require like flipping up a trap, Elbane. I don't even know if it would actually do it at that point, maybe full leader. So 20 points out. I know they can do it here. They've got a trap on the board, leader, and whatever else the case is. So that's huge. Serpent trap's out of the way. And it wouldn't have mattered if I used the Brockvar, I don't think, because with Aileron coming out, they're up by 3 points. So the 1 wouldn't really make a difference. And this is kind of why I like to play the Mushy Truffle again, guys, before you pass, is because you have it sitting there. And you see the consistency between the first game and this one. Here, deck has only 1 card left, so we don't take a mulligan because we do not want a Mega Scope in round 3. But this is like perfect. We have an engine removal, we have Lippy, we've got Vildkarl Point Slam, we've got the Heat Wave, and we've got the Cirrus. Like, it doesn't even get better. Like, this is probably... Doesn't look like a lot. It's probably like 50 points. So the best part about it is card advantage going into round 3. Right? Double assay. And just a ton of points in play. Both have come out on the proper row. I think I have to make Knickers premium. It's almost like one of the only cards in the deck that isn't. So we'll get on that for next one, but here we go. I just want to see if that's another... I don't know what trap it is at this point. I wasn't really counting. I just know that they play them, and I kind of know roughly when they're going to play them, like, because I've played traps a couple times, so... Yeah, I don't know, like... We know what they played. They played Serpent at this point. So, it's not bad at crushing. I mean, we just Heat Wave that one, because I think, is that a Pitfall? Potentially, like, it's a little tricky. I was gonna click Mushy, but there's no reason to. We might as well just protect the points, because if they go on board wipe somehow, then at least we, you know, don't give them additional value, right? Oh, onion. Seen that one going around a little bit lately. Yes, it's good to take out some tokens and try to find a win condition here. It looks like in this case they're getting the 5 plus 2 there. So 7. They did get 1 extra point from playing that. Couldn't find it. There it is. Boom. And of course we worked hard for this one here, guys. We made extra copies in the first round, so we got the 2 extra copies in there. Huge point play. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I just wanted to crank it here, and I wanted to do it very fast because I wasn't trying to be rude, but I wanted to show you guys what it's worth. We got 49 points on the board in a short round 3. So moving on to Hidden Cache. One of my favorite decks to play of all time, Hidden Cache. But again, we have to beat them in this game, so we're gonna just go for it. And I've seen a lot of versions that had the Vild Carl, and then, you know, Sigdriff is right, and just bringing it back and all that stuff. Like, that's fine. I just think that, like, they know if once they smell Lippy, then as soon as you play the Vild Carl, like mid-game, they're just probably going to heat wave it, because they know that it's arguably their best heat wave, right? They can squirrel the Cirrus, but they want to heat wave that because it plays for the initial 12 points, and then 12 points later. It's like a 24-point heat wave in essence, right? Where Cirrus is not as much. So, again, Vild Carl gets the heat wave, which is why I kind of like to save it. Like, you know, just for when it's round 3. Like, if I have to play it to win round 1 or something like that, we're down to the last card, sure. You know, we don't need it back. All the cards cooperating here. The only thing I'm worried about, like, you look at this, like, the placement, obviously the crows are hit or miss. Like, some people don't run crows in this deck, but I kind of like the extra discard, so you're not getting, like, a Haymay Scald or something like that. You have more provisions that are dedicated to, like, good for, like, better, you know, point contributing 4 provision cards. Just one of the things we have to rely on is, obviously, Roach and Knickers going on the appropriate row. So, yeah, just make another copy here. We've got space and time. That's what I love about it, guys. Like, we're up so many points. Like, solid 25 points here. Plus the extra 4 that are just going to pop out right now. Perfect that we actually got that all out of the way. Now, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, we gotta pass, we gotta go to round 3 because we're card down. No, we have to push. Keep that in mind, guys. Like, we're technically down a card, but are we really? Because we have, like, 20 points on them. Just think of it as, like, when you play, like, a She Who Knows, you got that carryover. This is carryover. It's sort of like a resilience you can't see, right? And this hand is really good to cram. Again, Snowdrop often takes the poison in the Syndicate matchup, and Snowdrop will often take like a Heat Wave, take Curse Corruption, like it just eats removal, and the removal always trades down. Like every single time, it's trading down. Because it's at that awkward 6 power. I mean, the only time that you could say it's reasonable maybe is like if they Giga Scorpion it, but it's not like an active engine for us. You see, Ursine, they see it, they're like, no, we're getting rid of it. So I play 8 provision card, they play 10 provision card to take it out. And now we can just let the half-roos live, right? This is huge because they actually didn't get any extra value off that removal, but now we got the extra 2 points off the second half-roo, so huge. And, you know, Von Hurst is obviously like a little bit of a disruption to our play. I want to remove that immediately because it might actually put us out of the round if I don't take care of it right away. The passive 2 points per turn, having the ability to flip them into Flaming Rose is kind of annoying, right? Passiflora. It's it's one of those things. I don't want coin carryover for them, so it's a consideration to just take a heat wave and get it over with. Like, there's a lot of engines that are coming from it, and again, we want to play down to like nothing here. We want to play down to, you know, either we even up the cards or we just, you know, we go card down, but we have a lot of commitments made from them. So the fact that I see Ursine and Passiflora, like that's what, 24 provisions within 2 cards that they played, and we're trading for bronzes right now, so it's really good. They have 2 engines on the board, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to get the points back here, but if we pull a good burn of discard, we might actually be in a good spot. So have a look at that here. Now, I don't think that Hidden Cache is the strongest version of Syndicate right now, but I did post a video of a version of Hidden Cache. It was like a jackpot Passiflora that I was playing about a week ago. You guys can check that one out. That game was really good. We had some good games that day, but overall you play against control and you're just done. So it's unfortunate. I really like that archetype. I think it's healthy for the game. Nothing wrong with just boosting engines, you know?
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
And the Jackal's annoying, but it's like not super annoying. They didn't have to click points there, but I guess they just wanted to keep it alive. Take Burna here. And this is like the perfect template game for you guys. Like, everything's just kind of coming together the exact way that it should be. So, out of all the cards in the deck, we just happen to have the skill because we're recording this, and we pulled into exactly what we need there. 2 skirms come out. Now, I think that's actually our first of Nero, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, that's the double check. And I Lippied, so we're not taking out Cirrus, because I don't think I have enough points to actually win the game in 2. But we'll take the Heat Wave out to apply more pressure. And that's pretty gross. I think, did we not play a Heat Wave in first round? I don't remember. No, we Heat Waved... Wait a minute, we Heat Waved the Passiflora, and then we Heat Waved the Jackal. That's 2 Heat Waves in 1 round. $32 on the pass, so we do get card back, which is great. I don't know if we'll have enough to get both cards out of them, but again, normally we like to save the Mushy Truffle, but in this case we use it. I think that with kind of what we got in exchange from them, I'm pretty happy with using that in this round. 2, you don't have to spend on anything. No. Don't need to spend. Going into round 3, again, I think that Professor's gone, right? Tons of provisions. Professor's gone, Orson's gone, Bassie's gone, Von Hurst. A lot of commitments. And we just pull, like, the golden hand. Like, absolutely perfect. And something I want you guys to take in consideration, like, really important for your, you know, just think about this here. We always take Cirrus before we take the Coral. Every single time. Because if you go Coral first, you might actually ruin the play, and then you're gonna tell me like, oh Q, I'm always pulling the wrong cards, your deck sucks. No, you gotta just like, you gotta Coral after, because like, look at all the chances to ruin the Coral. There's like 5 of them plus the one we created, right? So 5 chances to ruin Coral. Just doesn't make sense. And this game just ran away from them, guys. This is brutal. We still have a chance now with the Coral to like go back into like, you know, another skirm or something like that. Like, it's pretty wild. Little too late for the Seas. However, there it is. Snowdrop, we don't even need it at this point. There it goes. And Vildkarl's huge. you're starting to see some consistency between games, right? We're usually getting the same amount of points every single time. We're usually ending up with the same hand every single time. And if you guys are like me at all, it's very comforting to like see kind of the same cards. I don't really like those surprises. I like the consistency, so that's like perfect. And this one is going to be the last game for today. If you liked the video, guys, make sure you drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Maybe share your versions of something similar. Have you even been thinking about Lippy? Is it something that you would play? And any success stories that you have. Maybe ideas for future content. What do you guys want to see? And, you know, subscribe to the channel. Because, like, I'm trying to get this thing going. We've been at it for about a year and it's going pretty well. But I see that 81% of you guys, based on the last video, are not subscribed. So that would mean a lot to me if you did that to support me. Boom, right out with it in game number 4. We got Cirrus down 18 points. And again, Roach and Knickers both on melee. So this is a good example of what happens when things go bad, right? It's like I'm reluctant to click leader, but I gotta click leader. You know, we're probably gonna pull into something else to discard. Kind of sucks. The Mask of Ouroboros doesn't disappear until the crows are spawned, which needs to be patched in my opinion. I feel like it should disappear and then put the crows. I don't know, because you're losing that one spot, and I think this might be an example for you. No, we're not discarding. This is a snowdrop, is it not? Yeah. I think this round might have, like, if I recall. We'll see what I mean. Because if you discard something and the row's full, it's going to go in your grave and you're not getting the points for it. So that's why I think that, like, maybe, because this stratagem's based around discarding, they should kind of fix that up a little bit. Clearly, we got to place things on the range row, so let's do that here. I think this is where we take, yeah. So let's see. No, okay, we're good. Right? Yeah, we're good. I just vaguely remember, like, playing the game and thinking I made a mistake or something like that. Now, what's really cool here is we're 40 points up to 3 cards we could pass, and we know Precision Strike has a hard time, if they're control PS, to actually put out the points. I start seeing the pings down here, so I'm thinking it's actually the return of Shiru, so imagine if we had to deal with this crap in round 3, right? That could actually win them the game. The fact that we see it in round 1's actually worth the pass, and we know Precision Strike has a hard time putting out points, so I don't even feel bad. Now they're down to 6 cards. They spent the full leader. They clearly have one of those in hand, so they're probably going to play the extra Sentinel from hand. Even better, it's going to buy us an extra turn from them, so we know that they can't bleed whatsoever. Rebuke comes down here. They barely get ahead after 3 cards. So that's kind of like the power of the Temple Pass that we have. I don't think that this deck's running 2 Shirus, and if they are, they have nothing to really ping down the Shiru from, like a council or something like that. So hand's still very good. We know we're probably just going to get the pass, right? Now, obviously one of the pitfalls of Lippy is you don't really want to get passed on to round 2. Like, you want to win round 1 and bleed, whether it's on blue or whether it's on red most often. Like, you'll see the trend between the games, but, you know, I want to show you with this example that the deck can still win games if you have to lose round 1. So it still has points, like, don't get me wrong, right? We got removal, so, and most of our stuff's deploy. So like I said, this one's kind of like a little bit of a tech for Nilfgaard, right? Because, like, where nothing's getting locked, and, you know, they only have really one card that I'm, like, concerned if they copy. You know? The Half-Roos, like, that'll add up. But everything else, you know, and it'll kind of suck if they take away the Vilcarl, but again, most of the other stuff I'm not too concerned about. It's all just points on the board. And I used to play versions with Curse of Corruption, I used to play versions with Location, and the Bear Witchers, and I feel like this one just has a bit more synergy, right, with the whole Beast off the Brockvars, and just the whole discard thing down to the T. Like, you guys have seen how it rolls out so far. A lot of people run like an Igni or Yurden, but I feel like that's a lot of provisions that we're dedicating to a card to control or reduce their points, and I feel like, you know, it's really going to be more beneficial for us in this case if we just focus on getting points for ourselves. So here we are. Second Cirrus didn't happen because they squirreled it, but here we go. At least we have a little bit of points on the board. Again, it's kind of weird. Like when you see that play's already been made, you know, we have kind of the whole little discard thing left to go and just a couple, like, half rows in the bronze end. You would think that we don't have enough to win the game here, but we'll see what happens. Always a Quarrel. Quarrel before Burna. Don't like how we're taking the armor off it, however, it's one of those things where it's just like, whatever. They'll probably hit something that doesn't matter too much to me. There's a consideration to maybe not take the Morkvarg and maybe just keep it with a skirm, just to kind of like leave less points on the board, but I don't really think something like that really matters. Pretty minute. When you see stuff like this, it's kind of scary. Whisper could play for a ton of points. I see it creeping in the back there. And then the second one, it's not too bad. They get value on it, but again, happens to dump Coral, which is unfortunate. I'm looking at the board state. I'm looking at the points they probably have in hand. And we're in a really tough spot because it's tough. Like, I don't have a Gutting Slash. It would be perfect, but I know the Heatwave is probably going to play for like 15 points. Like, if they have a Gourd, we're not getting the Gourd, right? If they have maybe like a Tiger, I don't really care too much because we have, you know, good amount of cards on the playing field. I don't know if the Gourd early was just to say, haha, you missed it, or if they didn't have any more specials at this point. But again, I think that Precision Strike always just has a lot of special cards. I like to run Lacerate in mine. However, I don't know if a lot of people run Lacerate in this current meta. So, like in Precision Strike. Especially if they're doing Shiru, so that's why I'm kind of stacking a little bit here, just so that I have like an actual target for the Mushy Truffle. I want to make sure that we have at least 3 units, but I don't want to play it too early. We do have to kind of like watch it a little bit though, because Burna has the opportunity to get bricks, so we start to play on ranged. I want to kind of, you know, put some damage on their side of the playing field just in case they have like multiple Tall Punish or something like that. The Heat Wave's out of the way, but they could have like a Beckers and other stuff like that, Curse of Corruption, eventually. We're actually kind of grateful they take the lock instead of the damage here, because we would never intend on clicking that, I don't think. There's not enough time left in the game. Tuckstat Knickers just didn't come out by himself. I'm surprised, because normally it just hits the board as soon as we do the deck flip, but it is what it is. If the game's decided by 3 points, then he's a bad boy, but otherwise it's alright. Up by 16, card deficit, Heatwave's out of the way, we have 6 points from our leader, and Vildkarl plays for 12, so it's 18, plus the 6 off the gutting is 24. We have a lot of reach. They've played Gourd, and now I'm starting to think it's probably a win. So yeah, running Curse makes sense. They did like an early Gourd just because you know, Curse would have actually ruined it, or, you know, just kind of made it a little bit tricky to play. Again, we did Heatwave that Whisperer. I don't feel bad about it at this point here. So, good 17-point win.